Hi, I've been asked to provide makeup instructions for our upcoming concert. Now, many of you know how to do performance makeup, but if you don't, here's a video that's divided into chapters so that you can go to whatever section you may need help on. Otherwise, just refer to the PDF that's provided and use the required lipstick that will be provided by the Harmonizers. So what you're seeing is a finished product. I'll be narrating throughout the video. Oh, and one more thing. I'm showing my nails, and we'd like everybody to use either natural nails or subtle nails so that all the attention goes to our happy, radiant faces. Okay, let's go. Some of you have asked me what products I use. Now, some are no longer being produced, but I will put links to them in the video description, along with alternate links if you need some help picking out stuff. I went to Target and they have a rather large selection. Plus, they will take returns on any opened makeup, so you can't lose there. They have a huge e.l.f. selection, which is reasonably priced makeup. Plus, you can also get e.l.f. online, and I selected one of everything, and we'll put links to them in the video description as well if you just want to get a whole set of something. I also put a whole set of Physicians Formula in the video description. I hope this helps. Okay, now we're reverting to my natural face and the illustration. You can see the shape of the eyes going outward, the dark lashes, the brows where we cover the gray, the nice rosy cheeks, and the Maybelline Superstay lipstick. Now, optionally, you can contour by adding some white on the brow bone and the cheekbone, and then you can also contour by putting a little white in the very center of the eyelid. And then for dark contouring, you can go in the hollow of your cheeks below the rouge and where the jowls are just under the jawline, and that gives you a nice contoured look. Okay, moving on. You want to pull your hair away from your face. Your face should be clean. You'll want to have it moisturized, a moisturizer of your choice. I use CeraVe. We're going to move into fast motion now while I do the moisturizer and the primer. The primer I use is e.l.f. Poreless Face Primer. You want to cover your whole face, above and below your eyes, over your forehead, all the way to the ears, and taper down on your throat. Okay, it's time for foundation. They don't make my foundation anymore, Max Lasting Performance. So I have suggested some other ones, and of course those links will be in the video description. Again, you put this all over your face and everywhere that you've put moisturizer, and it should go on easily because you've used moisturizer. And back to high speed before we do a little color correction. I moved a magnifying mirror in front of me, so I'm getting closer and closer to the camera as we get closer to color correction and eye makeup. So you'll see I have some red spots on my face, and I use a green color correction pencil for that. It practically disappears. It neutralizes the red. So green over red is a neutralizing color. A yellow or beige over purple is neutralizing, and lavender over yellow would neutralize any yellow spots on your skin. So you can put the concealer on before or after the foundation. You just kind of dab it in with your finger. You could add a little foundation on top of it. At the end of everything, you can cover it up with a little powder. Back to fast motion. Next, on to supplies for the eyes. Here are two eyeshadow palettes. This one has some golds and peaches and taupes, and the other one has some violets and lavenders. Those are for green eyes. The taupes are more for brown eyes. So I use a combination of them. I have green eyes. Here's an eyeliner pencil. It has a soft tip on one end. I'm using black for this demonstration. And then here's a different eyeliner pencil from L'Oreal. It has a soft black tip on one end, just like the other one, but it has two additional features. It has a trimmer so that you can get the point nice and sharp, and then it also has a smudger at the end. So that's from L'Oreal. I'll link that in the video description. So you've got your eyeshadow, your eyeliner, and now that's your eyebrow pencil. It's just to cover the gray or to make your eyebrows a little darker and have more shape. We don't want them really dark. The focus should be on your eyes. See, the other side has a brush on it, so that's really handy because it smooths out any irregular lines when you're using the eyebrow pencil. Okay, so next I'm going to show you a little trick with the spoon. That's how you determine the edge of your eyeshadow and how it goes up. You use that spoon handle to mark the upward angle. And then you use the bowl of the spoon to mark the indent over your eyelid. And that's kind of helpful because if you have your eyes closed, sometimes you can't tell where that indent is. Or if you have hooded eyes, you can't quite tell where the indent is. Then we use mascara. I use waterproof mascara from Maybelline. Any type will do, and then an eyelash curler. Here we go with the eyes. I'm going to be very close up now since I'm looking in a magnifying mirror. I'm going to do one eye. You'll see I use that spoon to angle it from the edge of my eyebrow to the side of my nose. So that'll be our guide when we use the dark shadow. But first I start with the medium shadow. For me it's kind of a violet lilac taupe color, and I just fill in the eyelid there all the way to the indent of my eyelid. So that's the first step, and then I go back to that spoon, and this is where we'll find out where to put the dark shadow. So your eyes should be at rest. Your eyebrows shouldn't be raised high. Your eyebrow should be at rest, so you get the right amount of skin in there, particularly if you have older eyes or you have hooded eyes. So that helps you guide from the edge of your eye going upward and extend the angle of your eye. See my hooded eyelid there? The indent for my eye is a lot higher than that hooded part, so there's a trick to finding that. So you're still using your spoon, and you take the bowl of the spoon and you dip it into dark shadow. And I'm using the darkest shadow so you can really see where this line is. In reality, I'll be using a more smoky shadow to make this outline, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going really dark. So I use the spoon to find that little indent on my lid. And you see how far above it is, how much higher it is than the fold in my eyelid? That's going to make your eyelid look much bigger. And you see when I raise my eyebrows, there's an awful lot of distance there from my eyelashes to that mark. But that will help establish where the dark part of the shadow goes. Don't you love that happy face? Okay, here we're putting the darker shadow following the line that we created with the spoon. And we're bringing it all the way out to that part that's angled up that we used with the handle of the spoon. And we're bringing that color down. And we're going in an oval shape, kind of like the oval shape on the illustration on the PDF flyer. And it looks like it's overdone now, but we'll be blending it a little bit. The point is to draw your eye out and up. And so the shadow helps extend the eye. Now the lighter color that I'm putting on the lid right now helps bring the eyelid out a little bit. And then you can blend with your finger or a Q-tip or a brush, it doesn't matter. But what we're trying to get is a nice, easy transition. It's harder with older eyes because we've got all that excess skin, but you'll see that it'll all come together soon. It's always good to have a Kleenex or a pad to wipe off your brush so that you're not transferring the wrong color when you're working on your eyes. So now I'm taking the light color and working on blending a little bit. And now I'm taking a much lighter color, almost a white, an ivory, right by my nose there. Years ago we used to put a white dot at the center of our eyes so we wouldn't look cross-eyed, but we don't have to go that far. Don't worry, you'll be blending this soon, but I'm really exaggerating this for demonstration purposes. And you continue blending and trying to get that oval look like on the illustration, remembering to keep your eye going up towards the edge of your eyebrow. Next, we use the eyeliner pencil. It's a soft pencil that's pretty easy to apply. I've never been any good at liquid liner. This has a lot of forgiveness to it. So if you have hooded eyes, you want to make a fairly thin line so that you have more white space on your lid. You know, the lighter color on your lid brings those lids out, and a thin line gives that more space. But you can make the line thicker as you get towards the outside of the eye and blend it into that angle you've created with the spoon trick. And here's a good time to stretch out your skin so that you can get it marked properly. And so you're going to do the eyeliner on the top of the eye, and you're also going to do it under the eye about halfway along. If you do the whole eye underneath, you're going to look kind of sad. And so you just want to bring everything to the outside. You don't want to create a vertical look for your eye. You want to create an oval and extended look for your eye. And you can double check that and make sure that your liner goes where the shadow went. And you'll see there'll be a little dark spot under the spoon when you remove it. You can touch that up later with some concealer or some powder. Don't worry about that yet. All we're focusing on right here is the eyes. And so remember that one eyeliner pencil had a smudger on it, and that just makes those lines a little smoother. It's a little silicone thing. You could use a Q-tip or a brush to kind of smooth that out. If you have nicer eyes, that line could be thicker, but they can't on mine. So you just smudge that line nice and smooth there so that it blends into where the shadow is. Speeding up again while I smooth out the shadow. And next we'll move on to the mascara. So we're applying the mascara, that's the waterproof type, on the top lid and a little bit on the lower lid. I usually put the mascara over the top lashes with one swipe, and then I come up below the lashes, and that's where I do the most mascara. And this is black mascara. I don't see any reason for anyone not to use black. That'll bring out the eyelashes more. Now right now they're straight. I haven't curled them yet, so you can't see the effect of the heavy lashes. These don't have any particles in them. It's strictly mascara because I wear glasses, and if I put any extended particles on them, it'll hit the glasses. So what I'm doing here is just removing the clumps. You can use an eyelash comb. I have a bunch of these in a bag. If anyone needs them, I can give you some. That really helps comb through the lashes. We're not worried about them curling up yet. We just want to get them clump-free and full of mascara. If you want, you can apply another layer of mascara. The point is to get them dark and visible, particularly the lashes on top. Keep going until you're happy with the coverage, and you want to get a cotton pad and wipe off any specks from your cheeks. While your lashes are drying, it's time to do your eyebrows. So just take a medium brown eyebrow pencil if you have gray or light eyebrows, a darker pencil, of course, if you have darker hair. And just use the pencil to go over the brows gently. No major definition, nothing heavy there. And you know, it'll be slightly irregular. You want to cover the gray or the light area to define your eyes. And then you use the other side and just brush those hairs up. And that removes any of the irregularities from the pencil, and you'll get a nicer line that way. Your eyelashes should be dry by now, and so you simply take the eyelash curler and you grab the top lashes and you squeeze, and you can also move it forward and squeeze at the end so it's not a flat crease in your eyelash, but it curls up nicely. One down, one more to go. And the eyes have it. Now we're on to contouring and powdering. So speed up a little bit while I touch up the rest of my face. Next we move on to applying blush and doing some contouring. So I have some very pink powdered blush. You don't want a mauve or an orange. You want it nice and pink and rosy. And you go ahead and you take a brush and you're going to brush a lot of it onto the apple of your cheeks. That's when you smile. There's the apple of your cheeks. So you're going to apply quite a bit on. Don't worry if it's too much because you're going to blend it out later at the very end. So you put a lot on there and then you take that blush and you drag it back upwards and towards your ear. And that gives a nice healthy complexion on both sides. Now if you want to do some optional contouring, I'm using the e.l.f. palette, the two darkest colors, blending them. And I'm going to use them in the small of my cheek, under the blush. When I suck in, that's really where I want that dark color. It makes it recess a little more visually. And then I also apply the darkness below the jawbone on my jowls because I really don't want them to be prominent either. And that makes them recede. So don't worry about how dark it is because we'll blend it a little later. Now using that same palette, a different brush however, I take the lightest color. In fact, I'm going to use a little makeup sponge brush and I'm going to apply the lightest color just below my brow, on the bone there, the brow bone. And then I'm also going to apply that light color on the cheekbones above the blush, and that makes those cheekbones stand out. Not every face is different, and so the shape of your face may call for a little different contouring, but that works the best for me. And then another piece of highlighting right in the center of the eyelid. It really makes those eyelids rounder and frame the eye so much nicer. You can see how they look a little shiny when you have a little white color or light color on them. Now it's time to blend all these colors together. You can use your powder or you can just use the brush. I'm using a little powder here to blend those colors into each other. So you go over the whole face, where the highlighter was, where the blush was, where the contouring was, and you just bring them all upwards towards your ears so that they all blend together and look a little more natural.
The Harmonizers are providing you with the lipstick Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink in the color 155 Savant. You'll want to apply this to clean, dry lips and extend your lip line a little with the applicator to make them a little more prominent. If you need to moisturize your lips, do that ahead of time, a few hours before, with a solution of Vaseline mixed with sugar. It makes a nice scrub, and you can smooth out your lips and then wipe that moisturizer off, and they'll be ready for lipstick.
And now we can let our hair down, put on our costume, and we're ready for performance. You see there's nice contrast in the makeup without looking too unnatural. And the audience will be able to see your happy, radiant faces. You can go ahead and add a little or do a little smoothing, but you should be all set. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.